Hi everyone, I hope everyone's doing okay this week. So last week we took a little break from knitting, which is something that you need to do now and then, definitely, because you'd absolutely drive yourself bonkers if you didn't. So I hope you all enjoyed the little video I did last week, but now we're back into it again, back with lesson 5, and this week we're going to learn how to do the stockinette stitch. We're going to learn how to join squares together with a new technique, and we're going to learn how to hold the wool properly in our hands, in our fingers, so that we create a nice tension while we're knitting. So I hope you enjoy the video, and as usual, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below the video. Okay, let's go. To calculate how many stitches and rows I need for my stockinette stitch, I'm first going to knit 10 stitches by 10 rows. So if we measure across, I get 6 centimeters, and if I measure down, I get roughly about 5 centimeters. So for every centimeter then, it's 1.6 stitches. So if I multiply that by my 14 inches, that'll give me roughly around 24 stitches that I need to knit across. And then if I do the same concept down here, it'll give me 28 rows that I need to knit. So if you're unsure about this, if you just go back to lesson 4, that shows you exactly how to calculate the tension for your swatch. So I have my 24 stitches cast on, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to knit in plain stitch. So you do this all the way along. The stockinette stitch is probably one of the most popular stitches that you would use in knitting. You'd find it in a lot of garments, knitted jumpers. It's a very nice, neat stitch, and it's quite elasticated as well when it is actually knitted up. Now, so when you have that row done, you just flip it over, and you can see here this is the pattern that our knitted stitches usually make. So what we're going to do now is we're going to purl into this row. So remember that your wool has to stay in the front, and you're pushing into the front of the stitch with your needle. You're wrapping your wool around, pull it out. You'll find now as you go along that knitting becomes more natural to you, and you find that you're able to hold the needle better. And what I'm going to show you is in the next clip is how to hold the wool properly so that you get a good tension on your wool. Now, some of you mightn't be able to do that yet, but it will come naturally eventually, so just don't force it, because for ages I was just knitting like this, and then one day all of a sudden I was able to do it the professional way. So then when you have your purl row done, you flip it over, and as you can see now, we have a little stockinette stitch forming. So what you do is you just knit this row again. Now if you get confused and you can't remember if you're doing a knit or a purl, just remember that you're knitting, for this stitch, you're knitting into the X's, and you're going to purl into the round stitches. So you're just going to knit again as normal. Now I'm just going to show you how to hold the wool. So what I do is I wrap the wool around my third finger like so. Bring it around, and then I put my first finger underneath the wool. And you see this acts as a tension so that your wool doesn't get too loose or too tight. So I'm just going to show you how we do it now. So I'm going to knit into it, and you see it's just so much easier. And it makes things a lot faster as well. And it just gives you more control over the wool. But not to worry if you can't get this straight away, because it took me a very long time to get it. But it will come to you eventually. So here is my completed stockinette stitch. So I'm now going to show you a new technique today on how to join your squares together. So this is a crochet needle that I have here, and it's a size 4.5, but you could probably use bigger if you wanted, or smaller, because we're using our crochet needle to join the squares together, so it doesn't really matter, I think, anyway, about what size it is. So if anyone wants to comment on the video below and let me know, that would be great, because I'm just learning myself. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you have to wrap the yarn around your crochet hook. So then what we're going to do is we're going to just pop it into the first stitch on our square, and then we're going to pop it into the second stitch on the opposite square. Now this can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so you've got your 2 stitches on your needle, and you've also got your yarn on your needle. So you're going to take your yarn then, and you're going to go under the crochet hook and just around it, and then you're going to turn your crochet hook just around so that the hook part faces the knitting, and then you're going to pull your stitches over the hook. Now I'm doing it one by one because I'm new to this, and I know that some people who are very good at crochet will have this done in seconds, but I won't. So it's going through one, and then it's going through the other one, and then you've also popped your pink yarn over your hook as well. So you're pulling your yarn then through both pieces of the wool, so you get this kind of stitch. So I'm just going to do it again now. You can keep this yarn here loose, that's no problem, because you can tighten it up at the end. So you're going through your first loop of your knitted square, then you're going through your second loop. As you can see, this is quite difficult and I'm all new to it. So if anyone has any tips for me, that would be fantastic, because I don't know how I'm actually going to crochet all these squares together without losing my mind. Okay, there we go, we're through the second loop. So now I'm going to just wrap my yarn around again, wrap it around, and then I'm going to turn my hook so that faces the square. So you do this just so it holds onto your yarn when you're pulling it through the loop. Now, so we're going with one, pop it through, and then we're going with the next one, and then we're popping the pink yarn over it as well, and then you can turn your loop around and you can pull out your yarn a bit, and you see you've got this lovely stitch. I'll just bring it closer to you. So you've got this really nice neat stitch for joining your squares together. So there it is. There's that one complete. Not too bad for a first attempt. So if anyone has any tips, or if anyone has maybe a different stitch that I could do to put my squares together, if you just want to comment in the video below, that'd be great, because I welcome all ideas and all help. So please get in touch. So there's loads of new information there this week, and next week what we're going to do is we're going to use our stockinette stitch that we've learned this week, and we're going to learn how to do a cable stitch, which is very exciting. So I'll see you back here next week. Take care, have a good week, and enjoy your knitting. Bye.